Alright guys, welcome back to Fireteam Base. My name's Reaper, and today we're going to be reviewing Injustice 2 and its DLC. Now as you can see, there's a pretty good group of characters out here. There's probably about 32 of them out right now if you include all the DLC that's released. I think they're going to go up to 35 or 36, and there's a pretty good variety of characters out here. You know, it expands all of DC's universe and several Mortal Kombat characters, but really there's a difference in a lot of the styles of plays in the characters that a lot of fighting games don't have. Like a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter have very similar feeling characters, whereas this game I feel really goes the extra mile to make them feel different. Like Green Arrow is going to handle a lot different than Superman, Batman is going to handle different than the Flash, so on and so forth. But with that said, let's get right into it. There's a good number of stages for it. There's 10 with different sides of each stage where you can punch someone through the wall and they'll wind up on the other side of the stage. It's a nice little addition and it looks good, but after the first time you do it, it does get a little tiresome after a little while. But I really can't complain about it. It's a fun little mechanic I like in this game that really helps spice up a fight and gives you something else to think about in the middle of it.
Everyone has a weakness.
Now, as we just heard, they have intro sequences for each character, and there's about 5 or 6 for each character. So Batman will speak differently to the Flash or Green Lantern than he would to Superman. I thought it was good. It's a good addition to the game, and it really brings a lot more depth to these fights. Like I said, you'll get tired of hearing a few of them, but there's a lot of them in this game. Like, a lot of them. I don't know who spent this much time doing it, but I'm sure it took a long time to do it. So, it stays pretty fresh, I'd say. Especially if you're not fighting the same guys every time. As for difficulty, it's fairly difficult the higher you go. But it also goes down pretty easy, too. So it really does adapt well to your skill levels. As you can see, I'm kind of mopping the floor with them right now, but if you've played any kind of Mortal Kombat game, you know basically what this is going to be like. But if you haven't, it's a very balanced fighter, and it really, one of the biggest features I found to it is there's weight to your punches. Some other fighting games, it's really just kind of like flashiness and everyone jumping around on the screen, but I felt like Injustice is really, it feels a lot more real because people react when you hit them. They go flying, they stagger. It's not just, a bunch of flashy jumping back and forth between the characters.
The strong protect the weak.
Now that being said, it's not without its flaws. The game, it's fairly balanced on characters, but there are some that are overpowered. Batman, for example, has so many different combo strings that he's very hard to deal with, especially online. He just has so many different ways he can hurt you. But beyond that, there's a couple other good characters, a couple characters that aren't worth using, but for the most part, it's fairly balanced, which is good. A lot of fighting games will have 1 or 2 characters that are way out in front, and, this game really doesn't have that. Now, the DLC for this winds up being about $40, and that gets you 9 fighters. I believe you may get Darkseid with that. He may just be a pre-order bonus. But they are unique. They're all good characters. There's a few of them, like Sub-Zero, and I think Raiden is the next that they're going to release, that are kind of rehashes from some of their old games, so they're pretty familiar, but they're not bad.
Green Arrow.
Going forward, like I said, there's a lot of characters in here. Some of them are a little more obscure, like Cheetah. I had no idea who she was, but I guess she's a long-time Wonder Woman character. So as for variety, you'll actually be dealing with a lot of characters. I like that. It's pretty fair. One of the biggest negatives I have about this game is the community. Early on in the fighting game, you'll see a lot of low-level players and stuff on, but now that we're a couple months into it, I'd say 4 or 5, you don't see too many casual players anymore. So it is really hard if you're going to try to get into it. That being said, you can always play it online. It supports co-op up to 2, so you can really have a lot of fun with this at parties and everything. It's a great game to be playing on the couch next to somebody you actually know versus playing some guy that does nothing but play this online. So they tried to introduce a few things to this game that would keep some players coming back, keep your casuals in the game. I'm not certain how well it worked, but they added like the gear system, which every time you fight you get different clothes, I guess, for your character. and you know, those clothes actually buff your character somewhat. So it does reward you for playing more, but not enough to really offset the balance of the game. They tried to make it where they had what's called a multiverse stage, where I guess you get different rewards for playing frequently. That being said, I really feel like I kind of backfired on them, and it really just kind of rewards the trolls, or the people that will play this every day. Going back to the dialogue, every character has a clash sequence like that, where they kind of mix it up with each other. I like the amount of content they put into this game. It's very deep for a fighting game. You know, a lot of them are just pretty simple. Maybe they go with a little bit of a story, maybe they don't. But you know, this game's very deep with its story, very immersive. But the biggest minus is, at this point in the game, you're not going to see a whole lot of casual players. So if you're new to the franchise, it can really be a challenge to play online and with any amount of success. All right, guys, I think that about covers it for our review of Injustice. If we had to rate this game, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. It has good characters. The DLC is reasonably priced, and I feel like the characters are very deep that you get. They didn't just phone it in on the DLC. The biggest negative for this is it's very hard to get into if you're new. But if you have people that, you know, you can play with that you know, or, you know, play with when they come over to visit or something like that, it can be pretty entertaining. All right, I think that'll do it. Once again, my name's Reep, and if you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe, like our page, and we're going to be coming out with a lot more videos for game reviews and some tech unboxing. We're looking into doing movies, so if there's anything like that you want to see, make sure you say something about it in the comments. And until next time, keep on reaping, everyone.